हेलो दोस्तों, वेलकम टू माय चैनल पीआर नॉलेज सेंटर। आप लोग का स्वागत है मेरे चैनल पे। आज मैं लाई हूँ विजन आईएएस का नवंबर मंथ का करंट अफेयर। तो सितंबर का भी हो चुका है, अक्टूबर का हो चुका है, नवंबर का हम कर रहे हैं। नवंबर का कंप्लीट होते ही जब तक दिसंबर का नहीं आ जाता, हम सितंबर का भी अगस्त का भी कंप्लीट करेंगे। इस तरह से हम पूरे एक साल का, उससे ज़्यादा 1.5 साल तक का करंट अफेयर आपको प्रोवाइड करवाएंगे। वो भी सब्जेक्ट वाइज सब कुछ अलग अलग, ताकि आपको जिस सब्जेक्ट में प्रॉब्लम हो और सब्जेक्ट का करंट अफेयर जानना हो तो आप जाके वो चीज़ देख सके। इसलिए मैं चैप्टर वाइज सारे करंट अफेयर अलग बना रही हूँ। ठीक है, अगर वीडियो पसंद आता है तो लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब करें। और आपकी जानकारी के लिए बता दूं कि हमारा टेस्ट जो है, ये करंट अफेयर डेली मॉर्निंग में 7 o'clock, मतलब 7 at मॉर्निंग में आता है। तो आप 7 बजे सुबह उठ के टेस्ट या जो भी आता है विजन का, वो 7 बजे सुबह आ जाता है। तो आप इस वीडियो को जरूर देखिए। उसके साथ ही एनसीईआरटी आपकी चल रही है, और एनसीईआरटी सब कुछ कंप्लीट हो चुका है। एक दो मतलब कुछ चैप्टर जो बचे हैं वो जल्दी से कंप्लीट हो जाएंगे। और साथ ही साथ आरओ की प्रिपरेशन और घटना चक्र और हिंदी जो आरओ में होता है वो भी कराया जा रहा है। और यूपीएससी का टेस्ट भी करवाया है मैंने, उसका वीडियो आपको प्लेलिस्ट मिल जाएगा। वो करवा रहे, 4 टेस्ट हो चुके हैं। जल्दी ही हम आपका वो भी टेस्ट 20-25 जितना भी टेस्ट होगा कंप्लीट करवाएंगे एग्जाम तक। तो अगर वीडियो पसंद आता है लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब करें, और हाँ, सब चीज़ों प्ले लिस्ट को ज्वाइन करें, अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर जरूर करें। चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। तो पहला जो न्यूज है पॉलिटी एंड गवर्नेंस का, उसमें है इलेक्टोरल फंडिंग का। तो रिसेंटली द सुप्रीम कोर्ट डायरेक्टेड द इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ द इंडिया टू सबमिट द डाटा ऑन द इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड रिसीव्ड बाय द पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज टिल सितंबर 30 2023। तो अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने सबमिट करने के लिए डाटा का इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड का, जो कि रिसीव हुआ था पॉलिटिकल पार्टी द्वारा 30 सितंबर तक 2023 तक सबमिट करने की बात की गई थी। More on news. In 2019, while hearing of the Association of the Democratic Reform ADR petition against the electoral bond scheme, the Supreme Court asked the ECI to submit the data on electoral bond received by the political party. The ECI received the status report from मतलब ECI जो ECI ने मतलब रिसीव किया स्टेटस रिपोर्ट फ्रॉम 105 पार्टी से स्टेटस रिपोर्ट्स मतलब रिसीव किया। State Bank of India have received then only 25 political parties have opened the bank account necessary to the receive electoral bond. Only 25 political parties. Status of electoral funding. According to the data collected by the ADR, 69% of the total income of the political parties during 11-year period between financial year 2004-5 and 2014 to 15 was unknown sources. Source of the income of national parties for financial year 21 to 22, 66.4% income from unknown source एनुअल ऑडिट रिपोर्ट्स के अनुसार, एंड 23.74 इनकम फ्रॉम नॉन सोर्स डोनेशन डिटेल डिक्लेरेशन टू ईसीआई। Concern associated with electoral funding. Huge expenditure. Lok Sabha 2019 election have been termed the most expensive election ever anywhere. As the center of the media studies report, nearly 55,000 to 60,000 crore was spent during the 2019 election. मतलब 2019 के इलेक्शन में लगभग 55 से लेकर 60,000 करोड़ रुपए तक का खर्चा हुआ था, मतलब इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड द्वारा। और disrupt level playing field. The increased use of the money power in the political election disrupt the level of playing field. It actually deters small political parties and independent candidates from taking part in election. Impact of the such funding result in the rise of demand of the black money and parties preference for the candidate who can finance their own election, and distort for the level playing field and criminalization and politics. Very good. And increase the cash transaction. Electoral funding in the form of the cash transaction widespread in India, making a different trace for source of the fund, increasing corruption and reducing the transparency. As per rules of currently, political party do not have it disclose all donation below 20,000. Corporate and political party nexus, corporate donation of the political party have been growing significantly. Electoral bond क्या होता है? ABI electoral bonds are the interest free bearer bonds on the money instrument that can be purchased by the companies and individual in the India for authorized and branches of the State Bank of India. State Bank of India से खरीदा जाता है. Announced in the Union Budget 2017 to 18, sold in multiple of 1,000 to 10,000, 1 lakhs and 10 lakhs and 1 crore. Purchase through KYC compliant account to make a donation and political party. No cap on number of the electoral bond that a person company can purchase. Available for the purchase for prepaid period of 10 days each in January, February, July and October. Benefits of electoral bond: promote transparency by ensuring the political parties and receive the donations through a formal banking channel. Identity of donor remain confidential and reducing the risk of the retaliation in the intimidation of the political affiliation. All transactions of the electoral bonds are carried out via check and digitally. Concern associated with electoral bond: lack of transparency regarding the source of fund, violate the citizens' fundamental right to information under Article 19, Clause A, Subclause A, about political parties. Anonymous Anonymous donation may compromise with principle of the free and fair election. Shell companies can be used to fund political parties as 7.5% annual profit and limit has been removed. Also, Indian subsidiaries of foreign companies have been allowed to donate funds. Way forward: state funding of election. Various committees such as the Indrajit Gupta Committee 1998 endorsed the state funding of the election to stabilize a fair playing field for parties with less money. And transparency: detail of all donors should be made available for public scrutiny under RTI as the practice in the countries like Nepal, Germany, France, USA, and Japan bring transparency in the election funding. Proactive disclosure: mode of the payment of donation above the below 2000 membership fee etc can be declared by the parties in the schedule of their audit report and submitted annually to income tax department and ECI. Further scrutiny of the financial documents submitted by the political parties should be conducted annually by the body approved by the gas and ECI to enhance the transparency and accountability. Tax exemption: ECI has recommended the tax exemption by awarded only to those parties which contest and win the seat in Lok Sabha and Assembly elections. ECI has also recommended that detail of all donors who donate above 2,000 be declared in the public domain. Bringing a political party under the ambit of RTI, national and regional political parties must provide all information under the RTI Act to strengthen political parties' election and democracy. This is the very important news. And electoral literacy. Why news recently ECI signed an MOU with the Ministry of Education and electoral literacy of classrooms across the country. Silent feature of the MOU and on electoral literacy: systematic integrating voter education and electoral literacy into the curriculum and starting from the class 6 to 12 in all school. Electoral literacy include about information on government and principal economic, social and political issues that the nation is facing, the value of democracy and the equal right of woman and man among the other, and foster a sense of responsibility within the state education department of the stabilizing electoral literacy club in school and college. Design it on the rooms in every senior secondary schools as the democracy room for regular display voter education materials and conduct continuous electoral and democratic education activities throughout the year. And important of the electoral literacy, educate the children about election process since childhood and importance of voting, help in the smooth conducting of the election in diverse country like India, address urban and youth apathy, leading to better electoral participation in general election and preparing future voter ethical electoral participation and effect the strengthening the democracy. NCERT will be introduced and update the textbook include contents on electoral literacy and will advise to state education board and other board to follow suit. Initiative taken to promote the electoral literacy. Systematic voter education of electoral participation. Program flagship program ECI of voter education spreading voter awareness and promoting voter literacy in India. Electoral literacy club were set up in an institute campus across country ECI under the sweep campaign. ELC is platform to engage the school students through the interesting activities and sensitize them on the electoral right of the familiarize them with electoral process of registration and voting. Electoral literacy, voter awareness forum in department, private organization, institute, electoral literacy club, new voter in college and university, and electoral literacy club community on the Chunav Pathsala. Of those outside in formal education system, electoral literacy club future voters in the secondary and secondary schools, senior secondary school. Way for teacher is training and अगला है डिजाइन ठीक है इसमें क्या है हाँ वेफारो टीचर्स ट्रेनिंग ऑर्गेनाइज seminars to train the teachers for the effective imparting the electoral literacy student and campaign regular campaign can be organized and increase the funding and coordinating with NGOs and gram sabhas and ECI strategies plan for electoral literacy 2016 to 25 enhance voter awareness and continuous the education in electoral democracy and building the partnership and wider engagement. रोल ऑफ गवर्नेंस ये तो नीचे बहुत ज्यादा है भी गवर्नर का सब कॉन्फ्लिक्ट चल रहा है रिसेंटली Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Punjab moved the Supreme Court against the respective of governors over the pending bills. More on the news. The Kerala government has claimed the inactions on the part of the governors in relation to eight bill passed by the assembly. Of these, some bills have been pending with the governor for more than 2 years. In Punjab, three money bills were withheld in Punjab governor. Tamil Nadu petition mentioned 12 bills are pending with the governor apart from delay the approving the transfer of the investigation of CBI in various cases. Constitution provision for the government. Provision regarding bill. Under the Article 200, the asset of the governor is necessary for a bill to become a law. In this regard, the governor has been given some option refers table. Here, governor options status bill. तो gives asset to the bill. Bill become a law. Withhold the asset. Bill fail to become a law. अगर वो उसको withhold कर देता है तो bill law नहीं बन पाता है. And return the bill to reconsideration of the legislative as soon as the possible. If the state legislation passed the bill in the original shape of the modified form of the governor has given the asset to re-enacted bill. And the constitution of not lay down any limit मतलब वो अपने पास बिल रख सकता है उसके लिए कंसिडर के लिए भेज सकता है इसलिए कोई लिमिट नहीं है विद इन दिस गवर्नर नो रिक्वायर टू रिटर्न द बिल कंसिडरेशन इज इट ओनली इंसिट एज सून एज पॉसिबल reserve the bill for the consideration of the president. President can either give his or her assent or withhold the assent. President may direct the governor to return the bill to state legislature with his or her message. Such bill re-enacted by the state legislature without amendment is presented again to the president. Reserving bill for president. In one case, such reservation of the obligatory that is where the bill passed by the state legislature endangered the position of the state high court. In addition, the governor can also reserve the bill if the following nature: ultra vires of the against the provision of the constitution, opposed the directive principle of the state policy against the larger interest of the country, and or gave the national importance and dealing the compulsory acquisition of the property. Discretionary power of the Article 163 state that except when required to exercise his her function in his her direction discretion of the governor is bound by the aid and advice of the council of minister. If any question arises where the governor is required to act in his discretion, of the decision of the governor is regard to is final. However, Supreme Court is Nabam Rabib Rabia Nabam Rabia case 2016 held that if governor exercises discretion beyond this jurisdiction of the power, it would fall under the subject matter of the judicial review. Recent judgment regarding the governor, ESR Bombay case in 1994, the court held that the governor power should be exercised in rare and exceptional circumstances and that the subjective satisfaction governors should be open to judicial review. And next is Samsher Singh case 1974. Supreme Court held the governor does not exercise their discretionary power while withholding asset and returning the bill through the state legislature. They are required to act as the advice of the Council of Ministers. Recent judgment, State of Punjab case 2023. If the government decides the withhold asset to bill, then she has to return the bill to the legislative reconsideration. Such bill cannot be kept under governor identification indefinitely. When Supreme Court observed the governor has only three options as per the Article 200 guaranteeing asset and withholding asset and referring to the president. And after exercising any of these options, he cannot be exercised another option. Vice Chancellor case 2023 Supreme Court underlined that governor acting in the statutory capacity as the unitary of chancellor are not bound by the aid of the advice of the Council of Ministers. Tamil Nadu Governor case 2023 Supreme Court stated the governor cannot refer the bill to the president after the assembly has reenacted the bill following the governor's declaration withholding the asset. Various issues concerning governor's role. Pending decision. Delay assent to legislation and crucial appointments lead to the constitutional deadlock and disrupt the parliamentary democracy. Political interference. There have been instances where governors have been accused of the political bias and especially in cases of the government formation and use the discretionary power. Administrative inefficiency. Friction between the governor and the state government, especially where there is political difference, sometimes lead to deadlock in the administrative decision and appointments. Burden on judiciary. Dispute arising from the governor exercise and discretionary power or their action regularly lead to legal challenge and interpretation. Next, a way forward and recommendation and different commissions. Sarkariya Commission, it is only under rare circumstances that governor may exercise their discretion that they feel that the provision of the bill will contravenes contravenes and provision of the constitution and therefore should be reserved for the consideration of the president. Other in such exceptional cases, the governor must discharge the function under the Article 200 as per the advice of the minister. Governor appointees should be detached outside and a person in eminence in some walk of life. Governor should not act as the agent of the president and should not be removed from office merely on the ground that new government as the center desired governor of its choice. Punchi Commission, governor should take a decision with respect to the bill presented by his or her assent within a period of the 6 months. Governor are expected to be independent and to act in the manner avoid any political consideration. Governors should have fixed term of 5 years and removed should be through a resolution passed by the state legislature. Venkat Chalia Commission, the governor should make use of the advice of the council minister in the day-to-day administration of the state. And next news is special and local law. Pioneer's recent tabling of the bill on the criminal law has kept special and local law away from the ongoing reform process. About special and local law. A special law is a law applicable to a particular subject covering a specific issue. Example, Unlawful Activity Act 1967. A local law is a law applicable only to the particular part of India. Example, Maharashtra Control on Organized Crime Act 1999. Cognizable crime are the broadly categorized as those falling either under the Indian Penal Code or under the special and local law. Cognizable offence is defined as the one which an officer is in charge of the police station may investigate without the order of the magistrate and effect arrest without a warrant. Other important criminal law, Indian Penal Code 1860 and CRPC and Indian Evidence Act. Significant of this this high case of registration as per the crime in India static of 2021, nearly 39%, 39.9% of the cognizable offence registered in 22 were under एसएलएस इस एलएल बोलेंगे हम स्पेशल एंड लोकल लॉ को एंड इफेक्टिव इन्फोर्समेंट स्पेशल लॉ इनेबल law enforcement agency focus on the particular type of the criminal activities allowing for more effective and specialized investigation and prosecution and narcotic drug and psychotropic substances act 1985 protection of the vulnerable group example protection of children from the sexual offense POCSO 2012 and technological advancement the special law can address the crime arising from the technological advancement such as the cybercrime. Information of Technology Act in 2000. Need of reforms in SLLS. Uh, unclear definitions and applicability dilemma and clarity issue and dilution of the due process जैसे increase the power of the search of the seizures under the UPPSC and admissibility of the confessions recorded by the police officer under the MOCOCA. Uh, or has stringent provisions provided under the UAPA Narcotic Drug and Psychotropic Substances Act makes the granting of the bail and impossible. Way forward may separate the chapter of procedure and due process of the safeguard and enhance the categorization of clarity and emerging the crimes and threat. And right to information RTI, very important RTI. And recently, the Supreme Court directed the centre and state government to fill the vacancies in the Central Information Commission (CIC) and the State Information Commission (SIC). Supreme Court stated that non-fulfillment of these vacancy make the Right to Information Act 2005 dead letter. Despite the 2019 judgment of the Supreme Court Anjali Bharadwaj versus Union of India, the vacancy in the Central Information Commission and State Information Commission has not been filled. This has led to large number of the pending cases and long delay the disposal of the appeal complaints. Central Information Commission and RTI Act 2019. CIC statutory body has been constituted by with effect from the 2005 under RTI Act 2005. Jurisdiction of the Commission extend over all central public authorities. According to the RTI Amendment Act 2019, the central government will notify the term and quantum of the salary of the CIC and ICS at both central and state level through rules. The Right to Information Rule 2019 notifies the CIC and ICS with hold office for a term of 3 years. Earlier, the 2005 Act gave them fixed tenure of the 5 years or the retirement of age 65. Whichever is earlier amendment was done to ensure the ICS can use their powers even with senior most officers and administration without any fear of their job. About the right to information. Right to information means that any Indian citizen can request any information which is supposed to be public acknowledged from the offense and department of the state and central government. In 1986 Supreme Court through its judgment Mr. Kulwal versus Jaipur Municipal Corporation case directed that the freedom of speech and expression provided under the Article 19 and the Constitution implies RTIs without information freedom of speech and expression cannot be fully used by citizens. It replaced freedom of information Act 2002. A nodal agency responsible for the implementation of the ATI Act and Department of the Personnel Training under the Ministry of Personnel and Public Grievance and Pensions. तो key provision of RTI Act Section 2 clause H public authority means any authority or body of institution of the self governance established by constituted by under the constitution by any other law made by the parliament state legislature by notification issued an order made by appropriate governance and include any body owned and controlled or subsidiarily financed non-government organization substantially financed and directed and indirected by the fund and provided by the appropriate government. Section 4, Clause 1, Clause B lays down the information which should disclosed by the public authority on the suo motu proactive basis. And Section 6, Clause 1, a person who desires to obtain any information shall make a request in writing or through electronic means the Central Public Information Officer or State PIO. Section 7 fixes the time limit of the providing information by the PIOs and Section 8 exemption of the disclosure of the information. Significance of the RTI empower the citizens by the equipping them with the power to seek the information from public authorities and promote transparency and accountability in working of the government and reduce the corruption and make the democracy work for people in the real sense and strengthen the government public reaction relation through improved communication. Improve the government record database management, increasing the awareness among the citizens regarding the government function and strengthens parliamentary democracy. Exemption under the RTI Act 2005. Recently, the central government through DOPT issued a notification under the Section 24 Clause 2 of RTI Act 2005 to exempt the Indian Computer Emergency Response Team CERT.in from the purview the RTI Act added cert in the second schedule of the RTI Act. Section 24 of RTI Act say that this law is not applicable to the intelligence and security organizations specific in the second schedule. However, the information pertaining its allegation of the corruption and human right violation shall not be excluded. A second schedule include under its ambit institutions like RA, IB, etc. After the inclusion of the CERT in it has 27 agencies. Other exemptions under RTI Act 2005 include Section 8 Clause 1 list of the exceptions. Information disclosure of which would prejudicially affect sovereignty and integrity of India's security strategy and scientific of economic interest and our state relation with foreign state and lead to incitement of the offence and information which may constitute an contempt of the court, information that would cause a breach of privilege of the Parliament of state legislation, information including commercial confidence and trade secret and intellectual property disclosure of which would harm the competitive position of the third party unless the competent authority is satisfied that a larger public interest warrants disclosure of such information. Information available of a person in his fiduciary relationship unless the authority is satisfied that larger public interest warrant disclosure of such information received in confidence from the foreign government information the disclosure of which would endanger life or physical safety of any person information which would impair and process of the investigation of the apprehension and prosecution of the offenders and cabinet paper including record and deliberation which come under the specific exceptions information which relate to personal information that disclosure of which has not relationship to any public activities or interest or which would cause unwarranted invasion of the privacy. Section 8 clause 2 information exempt under the subsection clause 1 and official secrets act 1923 can be disclosed if public interest in the disclosure of outweigh that harm to protect the interest concern associated with the implementation of the right to information poor record keeping and lack of infrastructure and staff, and the huge dependency and the delay, the backlog of the appeal and complaints in many commissions across the country has resulted in ordinate delay in the disposal case, which render the law effective. And threat of violence in the 15 years, more than 80 people who had filed RTI application have been killed, while 175 others have been attacked, and several applications and reported being harassed. Lack of awareness is its enactment. There has been a lack of awareness among the masses about their right under the RTI Act, leading to the under underutilization of the law, especially in rural India. Way forward, filling up the vacancy and awareness and protection and training. Provide the training program of the government official to familiarize them with the provision of the RTI Act. Conduct capacity and building program of the PIOs etc to keep them updated and the RTI Act of the implementation. Proactive disclosure. Public authorities should proactively disclose information without formal RTI request, which can further reduce the burden RTI applications and enhance the transparency and governance structure. Special category status. What is news? So recently the Bihar cabinet passed a resolution requesting on the center grant special category status to Bihar. More on the news, Bihar is demanding the SCS seating. Poverty and the backwardness of the state, lack of the natural resources, regular flood in the northern region, and several drought in the southern part of the state. The bifurcation of the state led to the shifting and industries to Jharkhand, which create the dearth employment and investment opportunities in the state. Apart from Bihar, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh have also been demanding CCS. Criteria for the special category status: hilly and difficult terrain, a low population density are sizable there to of tribal population and strategic location along the borders with neighboring countries. Economic and infrastructure backwardness, non-viable nature and state finance. About the special category status, special status category status was the classification granted by the center to assess the development of the state that face the geographical and economic socio-economical disadvantages. About the social category status was introduced in 1969 on the recommendation of the Fifth Finance Commission to benefit the certain disadvantaged states. Preferential treatment, like the establishment of establishing the special development board and reservation in the local government job, education institution etc. SES state used to receive the grant based on the Godgil-Mukherjee formula. In the past, SCS had been granted by the union government to the state having certain characterized based on recommendation on the National Development Council. In 1969, three states, Jammu Kashmir, Assam, Nagaland, were granted the SCS. Subsequently, the eight more states were given SCS. Including Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Sikkim, Tripura, Himachal Pradesh, and Uttarakhand. Constitution does not include any provision for the categorization of any state in India as an SCS state. However, a wide range of the special provision of the available to as many states that has been listed under the Article 371, 371A to 371, 371H and 371J. Following the recommendation of the 14th Finance Commission, special center state have ceased to exist, and thus no special center state has been granted to any state benefits association with the special category status. Central assistant earlier the Godgil Mukherjee formula earmarked the nearly 30% of total central assistant of state of the SCS status. 14th and 15th recommendation led to the allocation being merged into the increased divisible pool fund and for the uh, state states rising to 41% of 15th Finance Commission funding in funding is ratio of 19:10, far more favorable than the 60-40 and 18-20 split of the general category states. Continuity of the unspent money. Special category state had the facility that they have unspent the money in the financial year. It does not relapse and gets carried forward the next financial year. Incentives can Several incentives are available to the CS state system in the form of the concession in the customs and excise duties, income tax rates, and corporate tax rates to attack the investment to set up the new industrial etc. And this is benefit of the debt swapping and debt relief scheme. Concern association with the idea of the special category status. Criteria, it is lack of the consensus among state and criteria used to sign the SCS state. And interstate disparities, granting the special status to the certain states may lead to concern about the interstate disparity, creating lopsided economic and social structure. Encourage the fiscal indiscipline. Debt swapping and debt relief scheme indirectly encourage the state to spend the beyond their sourcing the capacity, creating long-term liabilities. For example, the outstanding the guarantee as the percentage of the GSDP is 20% Jammu and Kashmir and 10% in Himachal Pradesh. Fiscal burden. अगला है क्राइटेरिया है लैक ऑफ द कंसेशन एमंग द स्टेट एंड क्राइटेरिया एंड इनकरेज द फिजिकल डिसिप्लिन एंड इंटरस्टेट डिस्पैरिटीज ये सब है फिजिकल बर्डन भी बढ़ेगा मतलब सेंटर पे ये सारी चीजें कंसर्न के लिए है वे फॉरवर्ड में रिड्यूस द डिपेंडेंसी स्टेप शुड बी टेकन टू रिड्यूस द डिपेंडेंसी ऑन द स्पेशल सेंटर स्टेट and central assistance by the promoting local industries infrastructure creating diversification of the economy etc. Criteria reviewing the criteria to determine CS state ensuring the criteria reflect the unique challenge faced by this state and considering the input from relevant stakeholder. For example, CS state can be revised by include the state socio-economic backward along with low resource base etc. Interstate collaboration steps should be taken to foster collaboration and knowledge sharing among the states to address the challenge and further strengthen the cooperation. Federalism. Continuous exchange best practice and lessons learned could be done to promote development in SCS. Read ahead the after abolition of special category state. So, yeah. Core and optional scheme. Centrally sponsored schemes should be divided into core and optional scheme. Among core scheme, those for the social protection and social inclusion should form the core of the core, जैसे मनरेगा and be first charged to fund the national development agenda and center and state funding pattern for core and optional scheme. 8 Northeast and Himalayan state, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir, Uttarakhand, 1910 and 80-20 respectively. Other states 60-40 and 50-50 respectively. Release the funds should be simple and accordance with the robust policy of cash management at the center state institution arrangement. Niti Aayog is mandate to strengthen the cooperation federalism. It should create appropriate platform state and center for mutual interaction in a problem solving mode. Arrangement of UTS transfer the fund to UTS non-plan and non-development purpose in administered through the demand and grant. Its Ministry of Home Affairs, its core optional schemes should be funded 10% by the center in all UTs. News in short. INA dashboard for cities. Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs launched the INA dashboard for the cities portal. Pioneering the portal will provide the information state and progress of the cities to 5 broad thematic areas. Refer to infographics. Urban local bodies across the country can voluntarily submit their key data, including audit and account self-report and performance metrics on the regular basis. Ministry through Digital India Corporation will provide the hand-holding to ULBs and state in the data submission process. DIC provides the strategic support to Ministry department for carrying forward Digital India mission. And Term of 5 and next the key objective of the portal: healthy competition and inspiring and learning. Need for the portal: critical data to single platform would be helping for planning new scheme and making policy decisions. And about ULBs, Constitutional Body 74th Constitution Amendment Act recognize the ULBs is the third tier of government and categorize the base of the population. Sizes: Nagar Panchayat, Municipal Council and Municipal Corporation. Function: 18 specific function enumerated in 12th Schedule of Constitution. Term 5 year re-election is scheduled within the 6 months of the completion of term. Five broad pillar of ANA dashboard for political and administrative, finance, planning, and citizen-centric governance and deliver of the basic service. Report on the bill for criminal law. Parliamentary Standing Committee on the Home Affairs submitted report on the three bill aimed reforming the criminal law. The three bills include the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023 replacing the Indian Penal Code 1860 and Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita 2023 replacing the Core Criminal Procedure CRPC 1973 Bharatiya Sakya Bill 2023 replacing the Indian Evidence Act 1972. These bills are subsequently referred to the further examination of UPSC. These bills aim to address the larger pendency in the court, timely justice delivery, erasing colonial legacy, and increasing the conviction rates, etc. Key highlight report: key provision of bill and key recommendation. Section 77 of the IPC has been deleted, which is relating to unnatural sex against the order of the nature, and partially retained the Section 377 IPC gender neutral form, and Section 497 of IPC relating to adultery has been deleted as Supreme Court read down the provision, retain the offence of the adultery by making the gender neutral. Such type of punishment to which offence are liable under the provision of the Sanhita are death, imprisonment for life, and imprisonment for feature of the property, fine, and community service. Empower the judicial magistrate to impose the community and service as the punishment. Enable online electronic FIR registration. Allow the online FIR only through state specific mode. Use of handcuffs during the arrest. Restrict the use of the handcuffs for economic offence. Admissibility of the electronic for digital record. Mandate the proper handling of the electronic and digital record. And next is the disposal of the cases against the MPs and MLAs. तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट issues a guideline to high court to monitor the early disposal of case against the MP MLAs. शायद पिछले भी बताया गया था जो MP MLA के MP MLA के खिलाफ जो केसेस होते हैं उनके गाइडलाइन वेयर इशूड बाय द सुप्रीम कोर्ट हियरिंग ए केस challenging section 8 clause 3 for representation of people act 1951. Section 8 clause 3 of representation of people act 1951 states that person convicted with any offence other than the offence of sentenced in imprisonment of not less than 2 years shall be disqualified for date of the such conviction. He shall be continued to the disqualify for a period of 6 years since his release. मतलब कोई केस अगर 2 साल से अधिक किस पे तो उसको क्या हो जाता है उसको 6 साल के लिए वहां से डिस्क्वालीफाई कर दिया जाता है. सुप्रीम कोर्ट इश्यूड फॉलोइंग गाइडलाइन. रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ द सुमोटो केस title in designated court of MP and MLA by Chief Justice of High Court to monitor such cases. Such cases can be heard by the Chief Justice led a special bench. Designated court shall given priorities to criminal cases against the MP MLAs punishable with death and imprisonment, and cases punishable with imprisonment of 5 years or more. Other cases, the trial court shall not adjourn the cases except rare of compelling reason. High Court should evolve the measure of the effective monitoring such cases while invoking its power under Article 227. Under Article 2027, Clause 1, High Court shall have the superintendence over all courts under tribunals throughout the territories in relation to which exercise jurisdiction. Related to Supreme Court judgment, Lily Thomas versus India 2013 Legislator of the minimum 2 year of the imprisonment would seize the membership of House. Union of India versus Association for Democratic Reform 2002 Fundamental Right to Know antecedents of the candidate contesting election. Supreme Court 2018 made mandatory for the political parties publicly detail the criminal cases pending against their candidate, enabling the communication on the real-time environment in core. So, Election Commission of India design in-house software with complete candidate and election management through in core. It is an end-to-end application for returning officer to digitize the vote poll and tabulate the round-wise data and take out various statutory report and counting. Another application called the in-core scrutiny application allows the returning of offenses officer to scrutinize the nomination and fill the candidate online through the in-core nodal app. Various departments like fire, education, police, environment, and etc. give no objection certificate and holding realize road shows and political parties under candidate and curbing the film piracy. Ministry of Information Broadcasting established the institutional mechanism to check film piracy. Under the nodal officer have been appointed for the Central Board of Film Certificate and the Ministry have received the complaints against the piracy mechanism has been established under the Cinematography Amendment Act 2023. An original copyright holder, any person authorized them can file complaints. For complaint, any non-authorized person, that officer can hold the hearing on a case-to-case basis to decide its genuineness. After directions from officer, the intermediaries have to remove the internet link hosting pirated content within a period of 48 hours. Ekra piracy. Cinematography Amendment 2022 was passed amendment of the Cinematography Act 1952. It supports the existing the law which of the Copyright Act 1957, the Information Technology Act IT 2000, which is a proliferation of the internet piracy, unauthorized duplication of film and other related content that increase. It results the losses of up to 20,000 crore every year to the film industry. Provision of the Cinematography Amendment Act 2023 prohibits the unauthorized, recognized and exhibit of the film. Offense will be punishable with the imprisonment and fine. मतलब कोई भी कॉपीराइट करता है तो उसको फाइन इतना पे करना पड़ेगा. तो इन्हीं चीज़ों का खत्म होता है. पॉलिटी एंड गवर्नेंस का कैसा लगा वीडियो बताइए जरूर. अगर वीडियो पसंद आए तो लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब करिए. मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में. तब तक ले जय हिंद जय भारत.